right, hello Ace family. Today we're going to go over everything you need to know about light bulbs, and anyway, we're going to jump right into it. We just got the new reset done that Ace had for all of the lighting, so we've got kind of the newest technology, the newest products, the newest features to make sure we have a good value and we can be helpful for our customers. So jumping right into it, the first section is going to be all the technology oriented stuff. So we have Wi-Fi smart bulbs. A lot of these are color changing. Download the app and you can set schedules, set dimmers, set on off stuff. Anyway, there's a lot available on here, but it's all Wi-Fi. There's Bluetooth bulbs to get the customer whatever color, whatever schedule they need. The next shelf down here, we had some stuff that wasn't going to sell in our market, so we didn't order some of that, and we replaced it with some of the stuff that we're just trying to get rid of. So this stuff is gonna disappear eventually. We're just selling through it and then we won't have it anymore. So it doesn't technically go there, but that's the explanation for why we have that there. As we go down right here, we have smart cameras, doorbell cameras, chimes, security lights, solar panel charger. That's great for if you don't have an outlet but you do want a camera somewhere. Could be big for the farms in our area too, that they want a camera looking at something. We should be able to get them taken care of. We've got smart Wi-Fi plugs so that, again, you can set schedules. Could be useful for Christmas lights or lamps or interior accent lighting when a customer might want. More cameras, more chimes. I thought this product was kind of cool. It's a smart temperature and a humidity sensor. And so this could be good if someone has an apartment that's empty in the middle of winter, that they want to know if it gets below 40 degrees, if a furnace quits, because that's a pretty small investment to make sure a pipe doesn't freeze or something. So that was an idea I had for that product. We've got kind of security stuff, smart door and window sensor, more cameras, and then on the bottom we've got a pretty massive camera that you can pan and tilt with. Color changing smart LED lights. These are great for above a patio, some nice ambiance or accent lighting. And then kind of a flush mount ceiling fixture, again multicolor. Go to your phone, have it be nice and fancy and snazzy. So the next couple of sections are more of the standard run-of-the-mill bulbs, but there are some specialty ones too. So very basic, we've got kind of the inexpensive huge multi-packs for a commercial project or someone's doing their whole house on the bottom here. And then we've got the Ace, and then we've got the regular, the premium brand lights. So kind of the good, better, best as far as quality goes. And what I really want to point out, what I want to make sure you know, is that the Ace LEDs and these other inexpensive bulbs right here, they are non-dimmable. And so with LEDs, there's a few different types, but generally you have dimmable LEDs and non-dimmable. The dimmable ones are going to be in these regular lights area, the premium brand, the best offering that we have. They're going to last the longest for the customer, but they're also going to have the most features, and only the feature that's considered here is going to be if it can be dimmable or not. One thing that can happen if someone's upgrading to LED for the first time, there is a certain dimmer they have to make LEDs work to dim, and that is across all brands, all features. If someone specifically wants the dimmable feature, they will need to have a dimmable switch, a dimmer switch, which is available on the other side above the outlets, that is compatible with LED bulbs. If that switch is non-compatible, it could make the LEDs burn out faster or flicker or twitch or just not work very well on the dim. So there's kind of a nice bit of helpful advice when a customer is shopping for a bulb. So the other thing that you might say is, well, there's a whole bunch of bulbs here. You know, what the heck? How do we know? And really, what I like to do is bring a customer here and say, awesome, you know, here's our light bulbs. Do you know what color of bulb that you're after? And that's the first question, and that really helps to narrow stuff down. And oftentimes customers goes, well, what do you mean, what color? And well, it's very subtle on the packaging. It could be a little bit more obvious, but on the yellow packages, that's a warm white. So I'll back up for a second and tell you that the color of bulb is dependent upon what's called the Kelvin. And Kelvin generally ranges from 2,700 Kelvin up to 6,500 Kelvin. And so what's really common for household bulbs is either a 3,000 Kelvin or a 4,000 or 5,000 Kelvin bulb. And you know, I'm giving you numbers. I need to clue you in on what that means. So this bulb right here is going to be right around 3,000 Kelvin. That's what's called a warm white bulb, and it's got a little bit of a yellow tint to it. It's meant to be a little softer on the eyes. It's what a lot of incandescents were back in the day, 10-20 years ago. They had a yellow tint to it. These blue packages right here, being the difference, is these are the, and I can't remember if they're 4,000 or 5,000 Kelvin at the moment, but they're considered a cool white or a daylight. Man, this is gonna bug me. I should know this for the video. 5,000 Kelvin, there we go. It does say on the box somewhere. Just have to know how to read. So these being a 3,000 Kelvin, these being a 5,000 Kelvin. The 5,000 is a very bright white, crisp white. Some people think, like on the negative end, it might be a little bit of a harsh light. It's not as soft as the yellow light. But on the plus side, especially a lot of older folks even, this 5,000 Kelvin, the bright white or daylight, is what's actually going to be it's what a lot of new homes are putting into. When you build a brand new home, a lot of folks are going to this. It's brighter, it's crisper, you don't have the yellow, and the human eye perceives that as brightness. So brightness is a separate measurement. It's actually called lumens as far as bulbs. These bulbs have the same lumen, but the human eye perceives the 5,000 Kelvin as a brighter white. So hopefully that helps clue you in. These yellow and blue packages right here are the same in the Ace. We've got the yellow and the blue, and then the same deal, we've got actually red and blue with the cheaper bulbs. So hopefully that gives you an idea there. Okay. All right. So now that we have the color nailed down, the 3,000 Kelvin versus the 5,000 Kelvin, we can talk about the brightness now. So LEDs, when they first came out, they tried to go to lumens and educate the customer, and the customer is used to watts, and so they ended up putting that back on the package. So everything's going to be a 40, 60, 75, and 100 watt equivalent, because that's what the consumer knows, that's what everybody's used to. But every LED is only going to use 5 or 8, or if we go extreme, 150, which is super bright, it's only using 28 watts. And that doesn't really come into play too often, but there are some consumers that go, whoa, oh man, the 60 watts, I thought the LEDs go like use less. And you just have to look at the fine print below it, and it's just to help gauge the brightness. The other thing that comes up is some fixtures will have on there, do not use a bulb bigger than 40 watt or 60 watt or 75 watt. And the only time that comes up, that's the actual usable watts. So you're never going to hit that with LED, with some of the brighter ones not using any more than 28 watt. I just want to make sure you know that you're aware that that can come up from time to time. So the next little section that we have here is three-way bulbs, and three-way bulbs come in lamps. So when you turn a lamp and it goes low, turn it again, it's medium, turn it again, it goes high. Those are three-way bulbs, and there's definitely an LED equivalent to them. And then there's different bulb types. So they go in order for the most part. I'm gonna let you kind of look at stuff, and the best thing we can do when we're helping a customer is, most of the time they have their old bulb and say, oh awesome, you know, let's look it up, let's figure it out. There's some common styles, whether it's an R16, an R20, and PAR 20, there's a PAR 30, a BR40, just to spew a few out, but a lot of the common ones are just going to be right here. The LEDs are hardy. There's not necessarily a rough surface like there was an incandescent. There's not necessarily an indoor versus an outdoor bulb, so not a huge deal there. But just take some time and look at these just to get familiar with the shape. And when a customer comes in and says, hey, I need this bulb, say, absolutely, come on right this way, and then let's pop open the box. Let's make sure it's an exact match. Sometimes the stem length can be a factor in some of these, but really you're looking for about the same diameter, about the same shape, and they're obvious. It's really easy to look and help everybody out. So let's see, I'm just trying to make sure. So that's kind of the basic bulbs. Now up here we have some fancier bulbs, more features, different color choices. So if a customer's not sure about what color they want, or maybe someone's shopping for their spouse and they don't know what their spouse wants, we've got these color selectable bulbs right here where they can get the correct bulb that they're looking for, but they can actually choose the color. There's a switch on each bulb so that we can go ahead and do that. Up top right here, the next shelf up, we've got some more specialty bulbs. They look a little bit different, but there's like dusk to dawn, and that just means it's got a photocell that'll be on at night, off during the day. Motion activated bulbs, battery backup bulbs, and then we have super bright where you can change the color. We've got timer bulbs, speaker bulbs so that you can play music out of your light bulb, I guess. I hope that comes in handy for someone. Bug zapper bulbs, the bug light bulbs. So when you're somewhere outside at night, you'll notice a lot of bugs swarm lights. If these bulbs are in, the bugs can't necessarily see it and swarm around it, so it can be nice for back patios and whatnot. Just that's the reason they're motion activated. And then we've got a whole bunch of color changing bulbs and a little bit fancier bulbs on the top. And then on the very top, we just really have backstock. That's a majority of what's up there. So I think that pretty much sums up. There's a few more trim bulbs here down in the middle. When you get done with this video, I'll let you kind of look at those. I think they're self-explanatory. A few more fixtures, but anyway, now that we've got those put in, we can come down a little bit further, go over the next section. All these bulbs are a little bit more specialty bulbs, more like a chandelier bulb, or around a bathroom vanity, somebody might have these fancier bulbs. Now, something I really wanted to make sure I didn't forget, and that's kind of explaining the history of bulbs real quick. So the Department of Energy just a few years ago outlawed the manufacture and sale of incandescent bulbs. There's a few exceptions like heat lamp bulbs, halogen bulbs, but really they're getting rarer and rarer to be able to get your hands on, and everything's just about LED here. We might have a few stragglers here and there, but the incandescents are gone. So how it used to be was kind of a good, better, best. So incandescent, and then there was a CFL, and then there was an LED. So the incandescent was the cheapest to make, cheapest to buy, but it used the most energy. The next was a CFL. Now a CFL bulb, I wish I had one in my hand, but it was like, CFL stands for compact fluorescent, and it was like a curly bulb. It had this little tube that was wound kind of all the way up and back into itself, and it was a curly bulb. And some customers will still bring that in. They go, hey, I love this bulb. I'd like to buy it again. And I'm going to give you a response to that in just a second. And then the highest end was the LED. And so how it used to be, say 10 years ago, that incandescent, cheapest, but used the most electricity. The CFL was a little bit more expensive, but it used less electricity, and the LED was way expensive, but it used way less electricity. So there were different price points for the consumer. And so what happened is that as the LEDs got super cheap, they actually ended up becoming cheaper to produce than the CFLs. And so if you're cheaper to produce than the CFLs and you're better, they came on, the CFLs had to warm up for 30 seconds or a minute, took a while to brighten up, and they lasted a long time. But the LEDs are more energy efficient, instant on, work in any temperature, and the CFLs were not, and so they kind of just went by the wayside in the market. So so if a customer does happen to bring in, go, man, I love this curly bulb, do you have any of those? Go, no, we don't, but now we have something better now that's available. So the better bulb is the LED bulb. It like I said, instant on, works in any temperature, more energy efficient, and now cheaper. Those CFLs just aren't really made anymore. So that comes up from time to time. What you need to pay attention to in this section is the bulb shape. Again, we've got the package colors. It's very subtle. A lot of times the customer doesn't notice these. We've had customers bring up a mix of both lights, thinking they got the same product, but the package is just not quite as obvious as it should be. So we've got the little mini base, the candelabra base, and then we have the standard. And then there's bulb shape. So there's, some bent, we've got the straight, and then we've got some globes as we kind of follow down. So everybody can just kind of check that out, and usually it's pretty easy to figure out. When we get here, we're going to end on this section, but these are all kind of the specialty bulbs that LEDs haven't quite caught up to yet. Now, we do have quite a few LEDs in this section, so when you're talking specialty lights, so fridge lights, microwave, oven, and specialty bases. We've got the GU 5.3 base, GU 10 base. It's obvious looking at those. The best advice I can give you is utilize the package. You can oftentimes hold the old bulb up to the package and just make sure it lines up. Do not be afraid to cut the packages open for the customer. We can make sure that we get it. Get them the right one. Let's see, there's also some specialty bulbs for some people have a bulb that heats wax for a Sensi's the premium name, but for a flameless candle. I think that might be the generic name there. Some of those could be found right here, where if someone still needs the heat, the LED bulbs are not going to produce any heat, but some of these still will. And then on the left here, one note I wanna show you is definitely utilize the package. Hold the old bulb up to the package, and you can utilize that to make sure that you have the correct base on there. But what I want to make sure of is all of these halogen bulbs you can't touch with your bare hands. So what happens is if there's oil on the bulb from your hands, these get so hot it'll just burn out the bulb almost instantly. So just make sure, wear gloves, grab a napkin, a paper towel, whatever. You just want to make sure you don't touch these halogen bulbs all the way down, and it goes for these longer ones too. There's different lengths of these, but you just want to make sure you don't touch those with your bare hands. That'll adversely affect performance, as we say professionally. So On the bottom, we have the heat lamp bulbs, so everybody can keep their cat, dog, roosters, iguana, whatever you got warm, so that nothing freezes too much. So I think that sums up a lot of it. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. As always, let us know if you have any questions, and we'll go take care of customers. Okay, we're gonna do a quick add-on real quick. So specifically on the heat lamp bulbs, the color doesn't really matter. That's kind of up to the customer. There's this 2-pack right here is 125 watt. This being red and clear, these are both 250 watt bulbs. Again, the color doesn't really matter, but what does matter is sometimes some folks will get they'll come up and say, oh man, the bulb just splattered, it shattered, and there's glass everywhere, or broke, or whatever, and we don't want that for someone's pet. But that's why we carry this guy. So these would be kind of the cheaper ones, your baseline. This is a premium heat lamp bulb, and what makes this premium is it's a splatter resistant. It's got a special plastic coating on the outside. So I've seen this happen like probably half a dozen times, if not a dozen times. If someone has this heat lamp bulb in their pet's kennel, in the doghouse, whatever, they flick up some snow or some water on these bulbs, and because of the temperature difference, these are so hot and the water or snow is so cold, it just shatters the bulb. And it's not really anyone's fault. It's just how it is. If it's on, it's just extra fragile if something happens to hit it or bump it or whatever. But if someone is concerned about their pet or chickens or whatever, having a splatter resistant coating on the outside of this might be the way to go for the customer. So hopefully that clears a little bit up, but that should help explain a few different options. So, thanks.